Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Keeps Boxing Gym Talk. I am your host, K-Rob216. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. I got about, 10 minutes of your time. I just want to give things that's been happening over the weekend. The Jake Paul fight. Not really going to get into too much of that. Because, Jake Paul, he's not fighting anybody yet. But he did get a good win, his biggest win probably against, Julio Cesar Chavez. But, he was very inactive and stuff like that. But before we get into that, though, I would like you guys to like and subscribe. Again, I want you guys to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Yeah, man, the Jake Paul fight, man. Everybody knew what was gonna happen coming into that fight. Julio Cesar Chavez has been very inactive over the past few years, very undisciplined. Jake Paul capitalized on that. Him and his team capitalized on that, and they got the victory. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. waited too long to do what he had to do, and he was tagging Jake Paul towards the end of the fight, and that's what that experience, I think he lured him in. Jake Paul got, I don't want to say kind of sloppy, but he got kind of comfortable or whatever, so that's when Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., started to trade with him and getting the best of those trades, but it was too late. And that's what happened in the fight with when Chavez Jr. fought Sergio Martinez. He just waits too late to get going. But it's one fight that I did want to excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's one fight that I did want to talk about. The highlight of that fight to the real hardcore boxing fans was the fight with Devin and Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin. First round knockout. Nobody expected that. I didn't expect that, but I guess Floyd Schofield and Schofield Sr., they had plans. They had other game plans and stuff like that, and it worked. Tevin Farmer went in there expecting a fill-out round with Kid Austin. I guess he thought Kid Austin was going to be, a little bit intimidated, because we can't say that Farmer is his best opponent that he's fought in his 19, fight pro career. But, he turned the gas up, got aggressive, caught Farmer with some good punches. First knockdown, hit him with a nice little hook / uppercut, or whatever you want to call it. Farmer looking up at the lights, and he falls to the ground. Gets back up, gets down, gets knocked down again. That's when I knew the fight was going to be over. The ref was going to stop the fight. Like I said, Tevin Farmer should have been well prepared. He should have, that's just something that you always have to be prepared in that boxing ring. You don't know if a person's going to come in there full-fledged in the first round. He's going to fill out for the first couple of rounds. Boxing is a very unpredictable sport. Floyd Schofield now, I think that they are calling out Shakur Stevenson because of the fight that happened, the fight that didn't happen earlier this year. And I made a video, it's in my archive, that I said that I was glad that fight didn't happen. It was too early for him. Golden Boy and Schofield Sr., I felt like that it was just setting him up for failure to put him in there with a world-class fighter like Shakur Stevenson. But now they're calling him out again, with Schofield saying that this is personal, so he definitely wants to fight him. Schofield Sr. said that he would knock out Shakur Stevenson in the first round. We all know that's not going to happen. I don't even think that he's going to beat Shakur Stevenson, but I like that his father believes in him. I like that Schofield believes in himself. It will be good while it lasts. I think it would go 12 rounds, but I think it will be a domination on the part of Shakur Stevenson. But, we'll see what happens. Tevin Farmer, on the other hand, he's got 9 losses, 6 KOs. We all know that he's well past his prime ever since he lost the championship to Joseph Diaz, and he was very inactive for a couple of years, I think 2-3 years or whatever. So now, I don't want to be one of those people that say that it's too dangerous for him. He's going to get hurt pretty soon. I wouldn't say that. He's not in he's not in the same bracket as Deontay Wilder as far as, his skills and stuff like that. Like, they're not all the way diminished, but they are diminished. I wouldn't say he needs to retire. I like the fact that this is towards the end of his career, and he's getting all these major shots against these top-ranked lightweight fighters and getting nice paydays and stuff like that. I will say just keep going, and keep getting keep getting your money and stuff like that, man, because, he's still a battle-tested veteran, cagey veteran, and he could be a gatekeeper for the lightweight division. I wouldn't say go as long as like a DeMarcus Chop Corley. That's what it seemed like. That's the direction that he's going down. But I hope not. And I wish Tevin Farmer the best. I have a lot of respect for fighters that, they can get the job done with very little knockout power. The Winky Wrights of the world, the Corey Spinks of the world, the Timothy Bradleys of the world, and, Tevin Farmers of the world. He's held a belt. The Chris Birds of the world. I like that how they have to use their mind and, their boxing skills to, to win. So, yeah, man, big ups to Tevin Farmer, man, Kid Austin, man. That's definitely going to, up his, his pay. And, people are definitely going to want to see him now with a first round knockout against Tevin Farmer, somebody that hasn't been knocked out, I don't think. At all. I think this might be his first knockout loss. I may be wrong, though. I may be wrong. But since we're talking about diminished skills, we can go ahead and get to the next subject. We're talking about Deontay Wilder, and he made his return after a year layoff. He made it against Terrell Herndon. We could say he's a journeyman. Yeah, he's a journeyman. But, in his case, I'm not going to say keep fighting. Deontay Wilder, he's lost the last 4 of his 6 fights. And he's had some brutal knockouts. And it's only going to get worse. Yeah, you can keep fighting these type of contenders like Terrell Herndon, fighting these journeymen and getting, his paycheck, fighting on BOK Prime. I have no problem with that. But when you're putting him in there with top opposition and stuff like that, I just don't feel like that's safe for him. I think he said something about he wants to fight Usyk. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea at all. The Tyson Furies of the world and stuff like that, no, he needs to leave those guys alone, man. Leave those guys alone. So I just feel like, his skills are very diminished. He should have got Terrell Herndon out there in the first 2 rounds. That's what the old Deontay Wilder, he would have did. But now he's a lot more cautious, which he has every right to be cautious because of his last, knockout loss. It was brutal. And so, but, he just from the beginning, since he started his boxing career, he used his size to get that bronze medal. He used his size. The heavyweight division was kind of weak at the time. This is when it was dominated by Vladimir Klitschko. And he had 3 of those belts, and he was making like 20 defenses. And this is not discrediting Vladimir Klitschko. This is how it is. He got his championship. Deontay Wilder got his first championship fight, his title shot against Bermane Stiverne, and he won by unanimous decision. But let's look at his 10 defenses that he had, though. I think his biggest threat was Luis Ortiz. Other than that, though, you can't even name the people that he's fought, And so, he the wild swinging and, not, getting his jab, his right hook and all that, educated and stuff like that. His skill set was, it wasn't all that. And so, I don't know. He can keep fighting on BOK Prime, but, I really wish he would retire because, he's going to have another brutal knockout fight in some of the top 5 contenders at the heavyweight division. And I have a feeling that they're going to call him pretty soon because he still has a big name. People were still talking about Deontay Wilder on social media, even though he's not ranked in the Ring Magazine, BoxRec.com. I think he's ranked number 34 or something like that. So, yeah, man. We wish you nothing but the best. Get your money, Deontay Wilder, man. But it's time to hang it up, though. Now, and we have some other news, man. People can say what they want about Devin Haney. I know, but he goes in there and he's willing to fight the best. And he just, I don't think he's anything signed yet. But I have a feeling that this fight is going to go forward in Saudi Arabia. He's going to get a title shot against the WBO welterweight champion of the world, Brian Norman. They are both undefeated. I know some people say that he's still lost, but like I said, man, if you'll cheat, you'll cheat. Ryan Garcia has something in his system. I don't care what percentage was, what it was not. So it was rightfully changed to a no contest, and I'm going to stand by that. But he's taking a big risk by, going to the welterweight division and fighting somebody, a natural welterweight. This is not like a Jose Ramirez and stuff like that, where he was using his feet, fighting somebody that's not really a natural welterweight. He's from the 140-pound division. And we seen his last performance. He used his feet a lot, made it a boring fight. That fight was critically panned for real. But I give Bill Haney, I give Devin Haney, and I give them, a lot of big props for stepping up to the plate, man. It's going to be youth and strength and size versus experience, and that's what Haney has. He has that experience factor on his hands. Do I think he's going to get the victory? I do not, because he still hasn't fought like a true welterweight. I would have liked him to fought somebody in the top 10, top 15 that's been a natural welterweight in their whole career, but he's going right into the into the Lions Den and facing Brian Norman Jr. Brian Barnett. I have like high hopes of Brian Norman Jr. Bruce Ennis, he's about to move up to 154 pounds. And so I believe that Brian Norman Jr. is going to take over that division. I honestly do. I don't see Mario Barrios giving him any type of trouble. And, the belts are going to be vacant. If I was a smart man, if I was Haney's team, I would try to go after one of the belts that Bruce Ennis has vacated and then let that fight bake and let it build up. But I feel like it's a lot of pressure on Haney right now. A lot of people saying he ran. A lot of people saying he got knocked out by Devin, by Ryan Garcia. A lot of people saying that he's not the same fighter no more. And like I said, his last fight was critically panned. Everybody is saying that he's running and stuff like that. So he has something to prove. Like I said, if I was his team, I would have a few fights at welterweight with some natural welterweights under my belt, and then I would go ahead and go for a unification fight or something like that if he wins the title that that Bruce Ennis vacated, and then go for a unification bout. But hats off to him though. Do I think he's going to win? Do I think he's going to put up a good fight? We don't know. His last performance he fought in there, he fought Jose Ramirez, a man that came forward. I don't think he was ready for that. But we could see the type of fighter that, he can show up with the same mentality the night that he fought Regis Prograis and make it an interesting fight. But, Haney, like I said, is moving up to welterweight. Brian Norman definitely got a chin, even though he does get hit, but he definitely has a chin and has fought some of the, a big name in the welterweight division that got him the WBO title. Haney has a 47% knockout, ratio or whatever compared to Brian Norman, who's been at welterweight and he's 77%. So I just think that the size and stuff like that and the strength and all of that is going to play a big factor into the fight. But like I said, I'm going to be here for it. The fight is going to be staged in November in Saudi Arabia. So I'm here for it, man. I'm definitely here for it. So, man, that's my time right now. I know I've been going for about 12 minutes. It's longer than I usually do. But, man, like I said, man, I want you guys to like and subscribe. I got a couple more topics that I'm going to talk about. Probably drop a video during the end of the week. I'm going on vacation to go see my grandfather in Arkansas. And so I will see you then, and I will make a video then. I love you guys.